I reach for something,
it's very
it feels like
dark.
I'm gonna put these on like I'm fake, really recording.
What we do here is go back.
Welcome to When Black Girls Brunch because we're crazy.
When Black Girls Brunch.
See, why you can have that? Just let Nathalie just sing it.
This is I can't sing.
This camera, it's so dark. If you're a chocolate, not about that.
Yaya Bangthin.
Oh no, Kendall's dark on here too. So
Delicious.
Yes,
Kendeezy,
Kendeezy. Yaya Bangthin.
And
Napping and trapping. What?
So we're hosting this massive podcast.
Massive podcast with just
and
us.
you know what? It's just us, but it's been a while since all five of us have been together. So
Yes,
in real life,
this is epic.
Delicia, you called this podcast.
Did I?
Yeah,
It was a collective effort between Natalie, myself,
Don't throw it
and
in the trash.
When did you guys discuss this?
you know what's a little discouraging me to though? It's a little discouraging to me though that people don't care more about things that we talk. Like it's like, okay, I care for these 3 minutes and I'm gonna watch it on Facebook, but I don't care enough to like come do something about it, talk about
She's
it.
calling
It's easy not to
out.
because it's easy
I'm
not
sorry.
to. Like think
No,
about
don't be
this issue.
sorry.
You're like, oh well, everybody else is just living their life. Why should I make the effort to come and discuss this? You know what I mean?
Yes, but I feel like apathy.
Which is a horrible.
Apathy is like a horrible thing for me.
It's horrible.
I don't like
It
apathy
is.
at all.
I agree, 100%.
So I don't know.
Because
So if you
I-
didn't
and-
come to the podcast,
What's
I'm
apathy?
calling you out.
But my thing
Like,
is, okay, then don't
apologize.
complain.
Huh?
Like if you're not gonna come, and you're
But
not.
that's
gonna
never going to
come,
stop people from complaining. People are always going to have complaints.
For my own
Basically
peace,
making an
for
excuse
selfish
for
reasons, I want people to
Can you
complain,
hear
to
us?
stop
Oh,
complaining
oh,
if they're
wait.
not going to do anything about it.
because she was fake doing it.
She
Like,
was definitely.
I was. Oh, was I supposed to do it for real?
No, I don't even have it plugged up.
I should.
The headphones are over there.
I am
The
not
cord.
100% at the moment. And it's
Kendall's
it's
gone.
bothersome.
So collectively, you guys called about this podcast,
Yes,
and
this is a
I
massive
clearly
podcast.
missed it. So, what were your guys' thoughts on?
I think we wanted to address like the current events and things that were going on with the recent deaths of Alton and
I don't know how to say the other homeboy's
Is it?
name. I feel so bad about it.
Philando.
Philando.
Some water for the homie.
Castile.
Okay,
and there was so much.
I'm joking. I'm not pouring anything
You
out.
can pour it on your plate, just on the
there
table.
were tons of others.
There's been a whole lot, and then that guy who was
A
just
black
recently
person
shot.
dies every 28 hours in America.
A person
by
of color
police.
dies very often.
Every 28
1 in
hours,
3
a black
people
person
is
is shot
killed
by
by
police.
police every day.
That's
Every
crazy.
28 hours.
You know what? I'm really excited to have Sylvia here though, because I feel like
It's a
she
different
can give
perspective.
a very different perspective and a more wholesome perspective than me. Because I feel like, well, first of all, I feel very official with Elon. But second of all, I feel like sometimes I will get very narrow-minded in my thinking, and I appreciate having other people to combat me and go, okay, open your mind up more. Like, I appreciate that from people, so I'm excited that she's here. So I feel maybe I don't feel guilty, but maybe I haven't put an emotion to it yet, but I feel some type of way when maybe my heart doesn't mourn as much or grieve as much for a police officer dying than a civilian person dying. It's caused me to think about that more.
I have felt the same way, but then I always come back to, where are they? When these things are happening,
I need that phone.
are they standing up? Are they speaking out? Are they taking a stance against injustice?
Okay.
You need
You need to cut it.
Cut it.
All right, Sylvia.
Okay.
How do you feel about black people?
Let's do it. What if we go around, express our authentic feeling about the situation, and then do discussion?
And then take notes.
So that
Okay.
we all,
Just take notes.
We're
Yeah.
all on the same page
So-
about where everybody stands, and then
Okay.
we can go from there.
No
Okay.
interruptions.
Starting with Sylvia. Okay.
Okay, no interruptions.
Because I could just see Yanna's face going.
Could I?
Sorry, there's things that are difficult.
Oh,
Are
are
we
we not
re-saying
going to do the
Facebook
Facebook
Live?
Live?
Oh yeah, you can go live. we were talking
You do
about
it. You're the
I'll do it.
Yeah,
professional
you
one.
do it.
current
Your tablet's
climate.
better.
Okay, but you're
But
talking.
you're about to talk.
Oh,
Hold on.
I don't like being on camera though.
Okay.
Me too.
I will.
Oh, sweet.
Proud of you for having your hair out still.
Oh, this is me.
Because I be rapping it at night, girl.
Hey,
Nothing to
that
it.
rap.
That's
That rap though.
If I don't have to do nothing to my
Cannot.
hair, then I'm
All
kicking
right.
out.
Strong enough.
Okay.
Hmm?
Just keep going because
You
we're
always
recording
try to blame
here.
my
So
home.
Okay, so
no, that's what
basically,
it was.
I feel like let me start with the
Wait, hold
with the wrong side for Yana.
No, you
It's
don't
not the
do
wrong
that.
side.
No,
It's your
this is
honest
your
opinion.
side.
Okay, so
there's no wrong side.
I feel
It's-
like, well, she's like, you're highlighting the good, but I feel like it's important to highlight both sides because people are
Just
going to
give
shoot
your
the good
side.
when
Your
they're not
side.
the ones
What's
who need to be
Sylvia's
shot.
side?
What
We
does
don't
Sylvia
need,
feel?
It's not a persuasive essay. We need Sylvia's side, period.
I was trying to write my cousin's paper right now, and it was really awesome.
Where's your integrity
miss
at?
it.
You can't do that for your cousin.
I know.
You should
but
do it
was
by
so-
himself.
It felt
How's
good
he gonna learn?
It felt good to write something up, you know.
So we want to know.
Okay.
What you think about
It's
the
not.
current
It's fine.
events that have been happening.
All right,
in America.
so I think I'm gonna come from both sides. I do. I have to because that's genuinely how I feel. Even when I was talking to Nathalie about it, I
Okay.
feel like both sides need to be addressed. So with law enforcement, I do believe that it's important for officers, to be held accountable. I believe that if you take the honor and the badge seriously and you're saying that you're going to go out there and protect and serve and that's what you represent, then that's what you should be doing. If that's something that you're not going to be doing and it's proven that your intentions are mal, then you should be held to a higher standard. Therefore, you should have a harsher punishment. You don't have time and you're trained, especially in California, because we have the best training in the United States of America. As officers and law enforcement, we have the best training here. So we also don't really have very many issues in California yet that we've heard of. But when it happens, if it happens, we have the best training. So there's absolutely no reason why that training shouldn't be kicking in when it comes down to sticky situations where you're feeling unsafe or uncomfortable with somebody or a situation. Now, I don't personally care for when people blanket everybody that's in blue into one full blanket, because every officer is not the same. Every experience that you're going to have with every officer is not going to be the same. They're not all out to get everybody. The black card doesn't need to pull out for every single person that's in blue. That's just not how it works. Some people genuinely just live their lives and they genuinely want you to just stop speeding. They genuinely want you to stop drinking and driving. Maybe because it makes sense. Safe. Logic stuff. Like it's not something that is hard to do, and then you get mad for them pulling you over for doing something illegal, but then you call on them when you need something too. You have to choose which one you want. Like you can't just be like, I hate every cop, but I want to call you because I need your help still. Like if you're gonna hate them, but if you don't, then stop ragging on every single one of them and report the ones that are bad. Because those are the ones that need to be taken care of and need to be removed from the force, that don't need to be serving because they're not serving. So, on that said, I feel like we can't blanket every single person that's an officer into the same blanket that they're blanketing every black person into. They're saying every black person's a thug, every black person's a rapper, every black person's this, a killer, theft, a burglar, whatever it may be. But we know that every black person is not that person. We have intellectual, black, educated, beautiful people, a beautiful culture, but they don't see that. But we become the same person once we look at every single officer and say, they're all a-holes, they're all pigs, they're all this, we're all that, they're all that, and they're that. And it's not the same. You can't be a person who says, don't blanket me, but I'm going to blanket you. You're a hypocrite. So you need to make a conscious decision as an individual to not like what individual cops are doing, but not blame every single other person and treat every other person just like they're treating every other black person just because one person got robbed by a black person for what they did. Each individual is an individual, and it's not fair to anybody, whether you be a civilian, a cop against a civilian, or a civilian against a cop, to blame and accuse and treat every single person like they're somebody else. So that's the cop side. Human side, black people side, I feel like we need to be protected. I think, once again, that law enforcement is something that can be a blessing and a curse. I think that it's important, once again, for officers to be held accountable. I think it's almost impossible because they are very well protected. But it's not something that can't be done. But if we look at the culture of the United States, and we look at where they're going with them having, if we can get them to have to start wearing like vests or the cameras and like the recording and all that other stuff, if that's something that's mandatory, I think that's something that would be a good solution. But I don't know. I don't feel like we can blanket every single person into the same fold. Like, that's just not fair. And if we're trying to make equality and if we're trying to make everything fair and even ground, then we can't do the very same thing that we're preaching that we don't want them to do to us back to them, because we're doing the same thing back and forth then. So the bad cops don't need to be shot. Let's just not kill everybody, because that's just not fair. But the ones that are bad, they do need to be reported. They need to have harsher punishments. They don't need to be getting off easy. They don't need to get days of pay after they just shot somebody. They need to be behind bars. They basically need to be guilty until proven innocent, is how I feel about cops, because you should and do have the training to be able to handle a situation like that. And from what I've seen so far, I don't agree with anything that any of the cops have been doing for the past couple of years now, I guess it would be now, that we've seen on TV. So I don't know. I don't know everything that happened, but I do know that you should be trained well enough as an officer to not pull your gun unless somebody else is already going to be dying. And you're trying to save other people's lives, not just yourself, because you make a conscious decision to become a cop and know that you're putting yourself on the line every single day. So you should go to work not ready to die, but, you know, like...
But you know what you said?
You know exactly. The black man walking down the street didn't sign up for that. He didn't sign up for your attitude. He didn't sign up for you not feeling the black people today. He didn't sign up for all that. That's not his job. But you take your job and the power that you have and then use it against people who don't really have the ability to fight for themselves, which is completely... I don't even know if there's a right word for it, but it's just rude. That's like an understatement, but the worst of the worst of the worst, that's what it is for me. So I think it's important for us to fight. I think it's important for us to vocalize how we feel. I think it's important for us to move. I think it's important for us to stick together and come together and create change. But I want to make sure that we're not being the people that are shooting out into an open space of people and all these innocent people are getting shot too. Not literally shot, but like innocent cops are also people who don't have bad intentions, that genuinely wanted to do their job and not in a way that is going to kill every colored person in the world. That they're not the ones that are taking the fall for all the bad ones that are still alive, because we don't know which ones are which. So I just want to be mindful that there's not all bad and everything, just like there's not all bad and black people like everybody says there is.
Which way are we going around the circle?
Are you ready? If you're ready.
No, we can. I just wanted to know.
Go ahead. God, I bet.
It's the glasses that really got me.
Delicia
put glasses
putting up
on.
a wall.
I wear my sunglasses at night.
Like, honestly, a lot of what you said, I agree with. Most of it.
She started on the most.
I had sake bombs, so.
There's an excuse.
The alcohol finger.
Maybe that's why she has the glasses.
I agree. Like, one, I want to say, a lot of people that I know, and I feel like probably everyone at this table will agree that we're not against police. It's police brutality, and it's about holding them accountable for what they do.
I slightly disagree.
Whether it is... So what?
I slightly disagree.
Wait, we
but
said
you don't want to hold them accountable?
Well, we'll let her say
We'll
her
let you
piece,
finish.
and then we'll come around the circle.
Okay, so it's not like... Shoot, I forgot where I was going.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so... And also, I don't feel like it's a bad cop, good cop thing at this point. It's gotten to the point where these cops are shooting and they know that if they say the right thing, they can get off. And whether they don't say that or not, they're, like you said, there's this protection for them. Like, when you were saying that, I thought of Orange is the New Black. I didn't watch all of episode 13. I fell asleep, so I do have to watch that.
Shame on you.
I know.
Falling asleep during the last episode of the season.
I'm sorry, but this season wasn't that interesting to me.
Oh, we gonna have to have a podcast about it. Damn.
No, but seriously, like, okay, so the young cop, from the beginning, from when he first got there, he had nothing but good intentions. What happened was an accident. That was like a genuine accident. He was like everywhere else with his knee on Pusey's back.
Oh, I was like, was this a real? I missed this on the news.
But we're talking about Orange is the New Black.
Orange is the New Black. Yeah. So I mean, it was a genuine innocent action because what I'm thinking of, because you had mentioned something like we don't know like the full story, and I'm thinking, okay, context. Whether this person is like a continuous offender that has been in the community causing mayhem, blah blah blah. So with that show, we've seen Pusey. She doesn't do shit. She's like, I'm here. She makes her little drink or whatever. But shit, like if you were in prison, what the fuck are you gonna do? Like you're trying to cope with what's going on. So that's how I was thinking. Like the context of it, and like the whole reason that she was in there in the first place was like selling drugs, I think, or being caught with drugs.
Yeah, something like that.
And so like it wasn't like she hurt anybody. It was no serious offense. Basically, to say, okay, we know that this cop isn't what we would consider a bad cop. Mm-hmm. But he wasn't going to be held accountable. Like I said, I didn't finish episode 13, so I don't know what happened. But he was not going to be held accountable for what he did because they sent him home. What did he do? He killed her.
He killed Pusey?
Yeah.
Pusey's not on there no more?
She did, girl.
How?
He had his knee on her back.
It wasn't even a riot.
It was during what had happened was it was during a protest. So all of the prisoners were standing up on the tabletops, and Pusey, like one of the guards who was above him, which is kind of like a metaphor for this systemic racism, right? Like his person above him told him, hey, get her down off the table. So he got her down off the table, and he was going to arrest her. But while he was trying to arrest her, other people were like rushing him.
I think Crazy Eyes was like trying to be protective, and she started.
And he wasn't focused on the person that he was trying to arrest. He was focused on
and he had his knee
all
on
the
her
other
back.
distractions.
She suffocated.
She suffocated and died. Kind of how was that Garner? Yeah. That died that way.
I'm not going to say that's the same thing.
But
because that was not the same thing.
Not the same thing. But I think that's
the scenario.
The whole I think it was the whole metaphor of I can't breathe. Yeah. Like I'm not allowed to speak my voice. I'm not allowed to do. I think that's the metaphor for the episode. Okay. But that's what happened. And he ended up killing her. And he ended up getting sent home, and her body was left on the floor of the prison for hours while they were trying to figure out how do we explain how she died.
Basically make up a story. Right. So so back to what I was saying is like in that situation
she had to have pissed off the director somehow.
No, like the whole season she didn't do anything.
No, and I mean personally, like how she's dating the director, right?
No, they're happy-go-lucky.
And she's like,
okay, I thought you meant her character. I was like,
no, but I think it was. I don't think that she pissed off the director. I think it was. This is a really good way to explain why Black people are upset. Because you're using the most model prisoner on this show, a character that everyone loves and no one really finds fault in. And you're also using a really good officer on the show in comparison to the other officers on the show. And you're seeing visually how systemic racism or there's a systemic problem within the institution and how it works and how it kills someone. You're seeing that trickle down effect of how someone telling someone else to do something and you wanting to keep your job and fall in line, how all of those different things kill people. So I don't think it was because she wanted to be off the show or that.
But she's going to be doing some other project.
She most likely is, but I think it was the smartest choice for them.
I'm not going to lie, this is kind of a tangent that's kind of taking away from
I'm sorry.
Like, her getting kicked off the show.
But what she was saying is like, it's basically what I'm going towards. It's like, I'm saying like there's no such thing, like not saying there's no such thing, but it's at the point where it's not a good cop, bad cop thing. It's just cops in general. They have this protection. Literally, I don't think that all these cops are. There's probably some kind of underlying racism that they don't even know exists within themselves, or they don't even think about. Because I feel like a lot of people we know, like even our white friends, they'll say things that is borderline racist, but they don't think anything of it because nobody's ever corrected them before. Nobody's ever told them, that's not cool. Like, if we go somewhere and we have a head wrap on, they're calling us Aunt Jemima or whatever it is. Like subtle racist things like that. So I'm thinking, like, I don't think that these cops shot Alton Sterling thinking, well, he's a black man, I'm here to kill black people today. It's not, racism is not that blatant in today's age. It's very and covert. Even with like the whole entire system, it's not like this super blatant, we just want to kill all the blackies. It's not like that. It's literally like, okay, what can we get away with? What people can we get away with? And it's going to be people of color, blacks, then women. And that's really what it is. Like Sandra Bland didn't have a freaking chance in hell. She's a black woman. Like she just didn't have a chance in hell. And then that little 16-year-old girl, I'm still wondering what happened with that cop. I think he did get fired. But that little 16-year-old girl in McKinney, Texas, that he dangled around like she was a freaking rag doll. So I don't think that I don't think he went out there thinking, oh, I'm going to attack black people today. It's just like a thing where they know, like, not even they know, but they can get away with it. And that's what the whole thing of, like, really holding them accountable is really important to me. It's not a thing, it sounds weird. I don't know how else to word this, but it's going to sound weird. It's not about them killing the people. It's about the consequences that come after. There are no consequences. Everybody on the Freddie Gray case is pretty much getting away scot-free. And it's like, okay, this man is dead for what? Like, what did he do to break the law? He ran away from a cop. That's a law now? I can't run away from a cop. Like, if a cop just walks up to my door right now and I run in my room and he shoots me, I'm in the wrong. And it's not a thing about it being a racist thing, like, oh, well, she's black and he was white. No, it's that whole system in itself it really bothers me. And I don't think that all cops are bad. We have friends whose parents are cops. When I DARE program in elementary school, the cop that they brought in was a black man, and I respected him so much because I know that when he goes out there, there's like all this stuff that can happen to him, but yet he does this day in and day out. But on the other side of the coin, I've seen firsthand police brutality. I've seen where, this mom called the police on her son, who was a friend of mine, and how the cops manhandled him. I don't know if mom called and said, rough him up a little bit or what, but it's like, it's a 16-year-old boy. He's tall. I'm sorry, black people are a little bit bigger and taller than the average person. But they manhandled him. He was on stairs. I remember him pleading to my grandma, like, can you please make them stop? Make them stop. Like, keep saying this, make them stop. And I'm sitting there, and my grandma, she can't do anything. And they're just, like, punching him, roughhousing him, trying to get him down the stairs. Was he resisting arrest? Yes. But he's 16. He's a child. And it's just like some things, it's just like, it's not okay. And it's not just about death. It's about like how they interact with people. They go into these neighborhoods with this fixed idea, like, I have to be extra hard with these group of people because of whatever. These are rookies coming in on the force, and they have this mentality because of what their coworkers are telling them. Like, even when anybody starts a new job, I'm pretty sure somebody has told you, oh, you met Becky? Well, let me tell you about Becky. She's a little like this. You might not want to eat lunch with Becky because she gonna steal your fork. And she gonna use your napkin while it's in your hands. You don't eat lunch with Becky. So you just avoiding Becky at lunch, and then, one day you might actually sit down with her and you realize she don't bother you. She chill as fuck. But you let what other people are saying to you influence how you interact with other people. And that's exactly how racism and prejudice and discrimination works. They're not born with these preconceived notions about a group of people. It's something that's been taught to them. It's been something that they've been told. And that's why I was trying to use that example of Orange is the New Black. I mean, honestly, when they got into that system, the whole, what is that, Milgram? Where he did the prison experiment, Stanford experiment, where those were just college students and they were given a role. You are an officer and you are a prisoner.
Right. And
they took on those roles to the extreme, to the point where they had to cut the experiment short because, you guys really are in this a little bit more than we expected. And when you give somebody that kind of authority, I mean, that was evidence right there. When you give somebody a uniform, you give somebody this kind of a title, you never know what you're going to get. And it's not a race thing all the time, depending on that person's background. But in general, there's going to be a divide. And right now, that divide is these cops, all cops. I'm more than sure that all cops are going to be given the same privilege and opportunity to get away with whatever wrongdoing that they do over whatever the victim is. It doesn't matter if they're black, white, blue, Chinese, gray. They're given some kind of a different level. Don't look like that.
I'm sorry, you just went from colors to Chinese and then back to color. And I just wondered what made you say Chinese and then
I
gray.
saw blue and then I saw gray.
Oh, I feel it.
But I feel like in a general vision, that's kind of how it is. And I feel like no, all cops aren't bad cops. All men aren't racist or rapists. I say racist.
They are.
All men aren't rapists. All feminists aren't man haters. Except Kendall.
Kendall's like,
don't put me in that box.
man eater.
But there is still that blanketed privilege that is there. All white people aren't racist, but they all benefit from white privilege. Yeah. We can all agree on that. So why can't we all agree that cops are given a privilege to do, not necessarily get away with anything, but there's going to be some level of protection for them to make it so
that's not offered to a civilian.
Basically,
because I ain't giving no vacation.
I'm going by what the media has put out and what we have seen. Every time somebody is killed,
I'm saying for doing wrong,
and not even just not even just cops. And I think the reason that it gets to race is because we see these white kids get away with doing some crazy ass shit. And they just get told, they have a freaking mental illness. And let a black person or a brown person or a yellow person do the same thing. Oh, they're a thug. They're a terrorist. They're this. And I think that's when people start to bleed that racist stuff in there. Because it's you do see that.
Or that the whole police system is built off of racism.
All day.
But
that's what I'm saying. I am.
PTSD.
I don't know what it is.
You know,
and dementia.
That is a thing when what did that lady call it? Post-traumatic slave syndrome. That is a thing. That is a real thing. When she broke that down, I'm just like, you know what? You got a point there.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm talking in circles.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Kendall's not going to be any better, honestly.
I wrote it down because I knew I was going to be talking in circles.
She typed something
I saw. I was like, either she's texting or taking notes.
No, I was writing my thoughts down because I want to make sense.
Oh, F you.
No. Not that you aren't, but I know that I wouldn't.
But basically, my thing is cops should be held accountable. Yes, there is a racism underlying. sheet on that mattress. And then there is a privilege problem, a privilege issue that needs to be addressed. That honestly, quite frankly, there's no solution. That's my opinion on that. Unless they completely wipe out law enforcement and start over from scratch, which they're not going to do, because if that was that easy, we would not have a president these next 4 years, because none of the people who are running are qualified.
Talk about it.
Like, to get a job, you can't apply for a whole year, and then we just put in a new pool of candidates.
No, doesn't exist.
So,
Like, they can't reapply.
if we could literally just scrape out, that's the only thing, and do psych evals. Like, they need to do serious background checks. And with the technology that we have now, where we could go through people's social media accounts and see, oh, in 2005, you said kill the darkies. What did you mean by kill the darkies? Oh, it's like,
or that is just a disqualifier right there.
Like, like something like that. But they're not doing that because
reapply.
I don't think it's that simple. I don't think
it's definitely not.
It's not.
But
that was just like the only thing I can think
not
of.
simple as like it's like, oh, how we were saying, like, racism is not blatant. We watched that, me and Delicia, when we watched that little video the other day, and they literally
What's the
said,
name of the video? Do you remember?
Cracking the Code. Tim Wise, but by the way, one of my favorite white people. Everybody look him up so you guys can understand white privilege for someone that's white. But in that video, like, they were saying, like, okay, we went to a police academy and we just said, we're going to give you guys a scenario. You're policing this area. It's a nice, well, actually, they don't say kind of area. They're policing an area. A young black man,
a black or Latino,
drives by in a nice car. What do you assume? That he sells drugs. This is what they all said.
You're
white,
he said,
black,
yeah, he said
white. It
cops
doesn't
are
matter
black,
what color.
Black,
it's not about
right,
white
right.
cops. It is any. They're like, oh, we're gonna assume that he's a
law
drug dealer.
enforcement.
Okay, same scenario. A white kid driving the same car, same neighborhood. Oh, his dad bought him for it. He's a spoiled kid. That right there is the issue. That's the thing. And it's like I said, it's not like I said. That wasn't even about race. It wasn't like I asked a bunch of white cops, and then the black cops were like, no, it could be a kid that his parent bought that too.
He's a rapper.
But you even saying that as a black person, why did it have to be? Oh, that he's a rapper. Why can't he just been a kid that could own that car?
When you said the nice neighborhood, I imagine Lil Wayne. So,
but see,
I thought about Lil Wayne.
But that's exactly
the issue. That's what I'm saying.
Like, black people, if a black person has this status, they have to be under these labels.
They're
an
entertainer. Between Kevin Hart and Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne sounded more attractive.
You were just getting worse.
Yeah. And the fact of the matter is, it happens within our community.
Mm-hmm.
It happens outside, because I'm sure that we've all said something. We're like, oh shit. Like, I've had to catch myself about, like, our kids, like the kids that we do Young Life with, and I had to, like, finally last year be like, wait, why do we keep saying all these kids don't have parents that can afford this? Like, we blanketed, like, all these kids, and I'm like, why don't we just actually find out? And that's the issue, that no one's finding out. They're walking into these situations like, this person did that. No one should get pulled over, whether this person is a drug dealer or not, something or not. No one should get pulled over for their tail light and end up dead. These are not cops walking into dangerous situations where someone's wielding a gun. These are traffic stops. This is not like we got called to this house where there is known to be illegal activity. We're not talking about that. These are people getting pulled over. Sandra Bland didn't put on her blinker. What is the excuse for her death? She
committed suicide. Duh.
So
whatever happened to that man that was hanging in? Was that?
I don't know.
Central Park? Yeah.
But do you see what I'm saying? Like, the issue is like, why, as a police officer who is armed, and guess what? You get to walk. You know you're armed, right? You know for a fact you're armed. You know that you have protection. If you pull someone over, why is a response to pull your, like, why are you walking in with that anxiety? Because you get to judge people and say, oh, okay, well, it's this kind of car in this neighborhood. I've been racially pulled. I got pulled over for no reason. And you know what the cop tried to tell me at 11 o'clock at night when it's on a dark street? oh, ma'am, after they didn't find anything on my, on my record, oh, ma'am, we saw that your tires were balding. So we pulled you over.
You
So
saw that while my car was in motion.
So you saw, wow, you were real, wow, you drove down this quiet street and you were just like, wow, this poor girl, her tires are balding.
Let me buy her new tires.
Let me pull over. But
Let
that's
her
what's
know.
happening. It's these, oh, well, I was just pulling them over for
Let's
no.
not even start on sexual harassment because that has happened too. I got pulled over and the cop proceeded to tell me he was going to come to my job, and then he asked me out with a ring on his finger, and I said, "No, sir, I'm going home. Bye."
Yeah.
Toodles.
I don't know. It's just it's like I said, it's a mindset. It's not about someone blatantly saying, I hate black people.
That's what I'm saying. It's not like that
It's a
no
mentality of this community is that.
Mm-hmm.
These types of look out for young men who have their pants sagging. Look, it's like, well, my cousin sag, and I was like, that don't mean they're about to go shoot somebody. Like, you know what I mean?
But
That doesn't mean, and it's like, we're not protected as civilians. We're not protected against that. No one's sitting here like, well, I actually know that young man and he's great. That's not what the cop's not worried about that. The cop's worried about, I need to protect myself as law enforcement, even though I'm fucking armed and dangerous. And this person may not have shit. Like, you know you're armed. You know that you're protected. What is the anxiety in that? Like, think about if these people that are cops were in our military, protecting our country.
They are our military.
Scary, but I don't know. I know some people in the military that are like,
They
I'll
are
be
all-
on the front lines and ready to die.
The funny thing is, the cops are the military. A lot of the people who are on the law enforcement are
They're former
from
military.
That's Dorner.
lives
Christopher
together.
Dorner. He was ex-military. How else was he just sniping at people? Dude, that whole
No, I'm
Don't
saying-
even. Don't.
Wait,
I'm,
you're saying that the
I'm really
state
trying to
I'm talking
hold
about the-
my tongue.
Wait,
so
you're saying that the
I-
local police are all military?
I was
You're
not
saying
gonna-
that-
No, not all of them,
Write it
but
down.
like the people who
But I
are like there are a lot of
really
people
wanna
who
hear
are
what
in the military. I mean, who are in like law enforcement that are former military.
Y'all need to get your lives together. I don't know. I just feel like if I'm armed and dangerous,
And I mean,
I should
and
walk into situations being like, oh, I have the upper hand, so why am I should chill out.
They're
I
not
should chill
thinking
out.
about the upper hand until shit pops off, and then they're like, oh shit,
How
shit.
did shit pop
Like,
off?
Can I?
Like,
Can I?
perfect
Okay.
example.
Can I say
Sorry.
something? Because I just feel like we could go back and forth with situations all day long. But for me, my issue is policing in general.
Yes.
Like, the more that I look at America, the more I look at policing, the more I look at the way that our prison system and the way that we treat people in general, I take issue with that. Period. And it will trickle down into people dying, but I'm not going to sit here and quibble over whether or not someone had a gun, because that's not the issue for me.
Right.
The issue for me is that the whole policing system was built on on racist ideas and filled with racist people in a time where racism was very blatant. That's the history of police.
The police academy, the police departments were founded, established to return runaway slaves back to their masters. That is the history of policing in America.
And I feel like you can tell when you look at not the people that are dying, but the people that we put into prison and the way that you treat them like cattle. You treat them not like people. You don't treat them in a rehabilitative way to restore them back into society. It's money. It's money for them. And I just, I know that this probably will never happen, but I will continue for the rest of my life to push for policing reform on a whole, because like what Sylvia was saying, or what you were saying, is not every cop is bad or good, and how do you make that judgment call?
Right.
How do you judge who's bad or good? You're not gonna be able to make that judgment until there's an incident, until it's too late. But you are able to control how people are recruited. how things are written into law, how you can
And
control
enforce.
how you're enforcing
Like,
The
these
enforcement of those
things.
laws
And
matters.
I don't. For me, it's just not an issue, and it's not an issue anymore of this person's name being a hashtag, because the fact that we are as a society reducing people to hashtags is sad to me, because that was not a person. That's a hashtag is not a person. Person had a life. They had people that were filling them up. They had potential. They had all these things, and we're just reducing it. I feel like we're all trying to dumb it down for people to understand, which also frustrates me. Like, why do I have to prove my pain to you? If I tell someone that I stubbed my toe, are you gonna sit there and interrogate me about the path I took to stub my fucking toe? Or are you gonna say, here's an ice pack for your toe? You know what I'm saying? And that's my issue, is that it just, policing on a whole, I feel like is it's a problem. And I don't have all of the answers, but I do know that I don't like the way that our police system works in the U.S. I don't like the way that our prisons work in the U.S. I think it's proven to be ineffective. Right. And it's making us, people who are not necessarily involved with the system all the time, you can see the ripple effects that it has on society. And that we don't approach people like what Ayanna was saying about how we stereotype people all of the time. I think we've been conditioned to think that way from the beginning, and you can see that in gender, you could see that in sexuality, you can see that in race, you can see that in a lot of things, that we're taught to think of a person a certain way. And that's the issue for me, is that if we are smart enough to know that maybe we categorize people, because I can maybe also see the argument of like, maybe that's the way our brain works, and that we categorize people, and for us to make faster decisions, our brain just works in these categories. So maybe
it's easier to not have to actually
think about things. But if we're smart enough to know that, then aren't we smart enough to think of a way to open up our brains so that we are thinking of better ways to treat people holistically? And we're talking about prison and people dying right now, but I would argue this for education. I would argue this for a bunch of different things. That's all I really want to say.
Well, I like it. I think
I agree.
A lot of what I have to say piggybacks off of what Nathalie and Delicia touched on. I think in general, we can all agree all cops are not bad, quote unquote bad. Like, we know they're good cops. I feel like that goes with being unsaid. For me, it's about accountability.
Yeah.
I'm not in law enforcement. I don't know what it's like to be in that position. However, I know that me in my little position, whenever somebody is saying something that belittles, demeans, degrades another human being or a group of people, I speak up about it. If it's my boss, if it's my director. As an officer, you're in a position of power. You influence the justice system, so I hold you to a higher level of accountability. You need to speak up. That is my biggest issue. Like, I don't care if you're good or bad. You're not doing anything.
Right.
You didn't do anything, but you're also not doing anything. Your paycheck is really that important to you that you will just continue to allow innocent people to die because of biases, because of a broken system. That's silly to me. Like, don't become a police officer if you're not willing to hold that responsibility. Don't do it. That's it. Yeah. And you were talking about doing background checks, doing psychology analysis, like doing all of those things, it matters. But on the flip side of that, like you were saying about the system, it's broken. Anything short of overhauling the entire system is a Band-Aid.
Well, I don't think it's broken. I think it's functioning the way that it was created to function.
It's functioning, but okay,
we need to change it
history,
completely.
Given where we are now and how different it is from where we were in the Constitution, when the police state or whatever was established, the Constitution should have been rewritten at least 3 times. Like, black people are not slaves anymore.
Why haven't we done that?
Jim Crow is over. Like, eons ago.
It always
that's
that always
ridiculous.
irks my nerve when people are. I want to go back to the America, the original
No, you don't.
America.
Because no, you don't.
I'm like,
They don't
do
know what
you
that means.
really? Do you really? Because when was the last
God.
time that you read? First of all, when was the last time you read that word for word?
Did you really
And
read
second of all, if we went back to that time, even if in your mind you're just thinking economically, even if in your mind you're just thinking state rights versus federal rights or whatever it is, you're bringing along with it all of the societal changes that were made. And so I agree with you. I feel like
I'm just like,
at this point
change
we
the
need
shit.
to
Like,
rewrite
it's
shit
exhausting.
because our
People
country
are
is
gonna-
different.
Black people
Yeah.
are going to continue. We can argue, like you said, we can argue about these individual instances till we're dead. But shit is not going to change.
And people have.
Like, it's exhausting. That is, like, for me personally, I don't want to discredit these conversations because we hurt.
Yeah.
We cry for
Right.
this. We mourn for this. This is real to us 24/7. Like, this shit matters. But it's going to continue to happen. And we're going to continue to cry. We're going to continue to hurt and mourn.
Right.
Regardless. So, it's
But
just,
I feel like
it's just
that's when
exhausting.
people. Well, I feel like people now. I heard a lot more people going, "Okay, well, what are the next steps?" Now everyone wants us, and by us I mean Black people, to give society at large a solution.
Yes.
Here's
Please,
how
Black people,
we
tell
are
us.
gonna fix our problem. And I think I actually saw someone on Facebook, an Irish person, which my mom has brought up to me before, that Irish people were once slaves. And so
Indentured
Irish
servants.
people,
There's a
and
difference.
look how Irish
'Cause
people
y'all was
done
able to
came up
become
out of
white.
it. And I was like,
that does not,
but
they
that's
had a
not
whole
even a logical
Which-
argument. That
right.
does not make any sense. That does not
exactly,
make any sense.
exactly. And
Sorry, Mom. But
I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry. I don't
But not at the
apologize.
same
My
time.
my mom and I have really heated debates about this, and it's something I think has shaped me as a mixed person. Seeing my mom not necessarily embrace Black people fully, but that's besides the point. But I just feel like actually I lost my train of thought.
You said
Irish
Irish people were
people.
slaves.
You said you commented somebody coming on Facebook and they were
Oh yeah, the Irish person on Facebook.
Your mom brought up an Irish person.
No, I
and
know that,
talking
but
about how they
before
were
that.
able to-
No, the
Oh,
solution.
you were asking
talking
about-
Oh,
I saw
how
this
people
post.
want us to give them like this solution as if we created this problem.
And you know,
And I
Oh,
just
God.
that doesn't resonate with me when people look to Black people for
fix a
solutions
problem.
or to
Fix
fix
you.
something. Right, like what Rosenberg from Hot 97 said to a police officer they had on the phone resonated with me, because he told the cop, why don't you go back to your police department and you talk to the people that are working in the environment that you are used to and something that you are a part of. Why don't you start that change? Why are you looking for the
somebody
victims
else speak
to
up.
change something when the victims are telling you or showing you, I'm not really doing anything except living my life, and y'all want to kill me? Like, how am I supposed to fix that?
And that
That's
also
hard for
applies
me.
in this conversation about nonviolence, peaceful protesting.
Yeah,
You
F
wanna
that.
blame-
America was built on violence.
You want to
What are you
blame Black
talking
people for violence when violence has been happening for centuries.
Right.
You want to call for nonviolence now when there's retaliation, yet when people are being, not that people didn't fight slavery, but people are being enslaved. Jim Crow, racism, which is a system based on discrimination based on race, exists. You have no issue. But as soon as people start to retaliate, then it's, now let's be nonviolent. People have been dying for centuries. Why wasn't the reform happening then? Why does it need to happen now? Like, that
And
doesn't make
people
any
always,
sense.
I think people always point back to the civil rights movement, like those are
Yeah.
the golden
It
years.
was violent as fuck. Y'all want to praise Martin Luther King because he was peaceful. What about Malcolm X? What about
Well, here's the
Carmichael,
thing: you
like,
still
this shit
killed
was
Martin
not-
Luther King.
Y'all killed him. And he was
You still
peaceful.
assassinated
so talk
him.
to me about peace.
But
what does that even mean
Also,
to you?
Martin Luther King
Nothing.
was starting to lean towards the
Violent side. Yes.
By any means necessary.
Because
before he was
50% of
assassinated.
Black America did not agree with MLK when he died because he was nonviolent. That is the truth. Y'all want to tout MLK as like this icon and this beacon of hope for America? 50% of his people did not even agree with his tactics because it was not anyone to die. I don't want any innocent people to die. But don't sit up here and complain when it comes as retaliation. When it comes as a result of violence that has already been existing. Like, that is irrational.
And then, white people thought, I mean, why are they so angry? It was so long ago.
Because I work 24/7. Because I have to be on in non-black, quote unquote, 24/7. That's why I'm angry.
It's because guess what? As a nation, we all watched a black man get shot, and you know what you want to do? How do we excuse this?
Basically,
right.
How do we?
That's my point.
Excuse
That's
for
my
this?
point.
Why?
Is that you watch two people die on Facebook on
And
your
you try to
phone, and you try to
justify it.
justify their
Where is
murder
the
instead of
integrity?
figuring out why they died.
He died.
That's my point.
She died. Children are children.
The fact that
Children
think
are
about
dying, and you want to justify it.
I
Because
was
she had
like-
an attitude, she deserved to die.
Like-
Because she, like, what?
And
Like,
the
how
boy
did
that
he
was
die?
like 12 years old with the
To be
toy gun.
right.
Oh my god! He got drive-by shooting by cops, like on a 12-year-old.
They
They
didn't
didn't let
even
his
stop
sister-
the car. And
they
he
didn't
was
let his sister-
already
they didn't even let his
dead.
sister
He was
comfort
already
him.
shot.
They wouldn't even let his sister
And the
come.
fact that you can watch these images and say, "Oh, lives matter."
Get over it.
What about?
this? Or
Why do you,
Blue
as a
lives
human,
matter.
Why
Guess
do you,
what?
as a human
Blue is
being,
not a life. Blue is an occupation. You
Right.
are not born a police officer. I don't want officers to die. I have officers who are family members, and that's not what I'm saying. But don't sit up here and try to take something that you are naturally born with and equate it to something that is a choice.
Right.
and it's an occupation. Again,
She
give
goes
you
like
a
this.
gun.
I thought she was gonna say something profound,
I
and it was
can't
like,
choose that shit.
No, because it's really, it's honestly really that simple.
It's like-
and I think that's
You're
the
not on the
frustration for
same
people
playing
comes
field.
from.
You do not walk out as a cop with nothing. They actually give you a lot of other things to do to people.
You have to go to school to learn how to be blue. Like, it's not a thing.
It's a choice.
Not a
I'm
thing.
sorry. Like,
Let's take a deep breath, guys. Let's take a deep.
Okay.
I've been
Try
breathing it for a long time, actually.
anyways,
You
solutions.
didn't breathe.
I did.
Breathe. One more.
One more.
All right.
This is serious. I'm trying to get everybody to simmer down.
You're right.
No,
I'm
You're right.
it is
hot.
serious.
I'm calm.
It's
I'm
serious.
not.
She's not.
I'm
red.
fired up.
I'll
This
play
shit
it. I'll
and
play
it's
it
hot.
everyone's little emotions. This is a human issue. Race not in there. You watched a human being died and found an excuse, and then it's like, but all cops aren't bad. I said, miss me with that, because ain't nobody talking about the fucking good cops. Go, you got your job. You get paid to be.
I pay you.
Like, I pay you to protect and serve. So go you.
I
So
pay
go
no
you.
taxes.
Don't nobody post hashtag Ayanna's job matters. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't get
But
kudos
you know what?
for going to do my job. Thank you for going and doing your job. We the focus, because it's like, I just feel like all this rhetoric, oh, the cops, and what about the cops? And it's like, guess what? If they're doing their job and they're not shooting innocent people, guess what we're not fucking talking about? Them. But we are talking about
But we
a system, and two, people to be held accountable. How do you get a paid fucking vacation after murdering someone? How is that a thing?
Like, there are societies
But
throughout the
that's
world,
good.
and the officers don't even
Same.
carry weapons.
Okay.
So it's like,
Thank you.
I'm like-
But go ahead and speak.
Sylvia.
We are not talking about them. Kudos for doing their jobs. However, when it comes down to people getting mass shot, officers getting
we're
mass
talking
shot,
about. We're talking
it
about.
does affect them.
Sylvia,
though.
okay, but I'm saying.
We're not talking about them, but it ends up affecting them no matter what.
But okay, let me clarify something. When I think when I hear they or we are talking about them, I'm picturing the people that I know on my Facebook, the people that I know in real life. They, as a collective, do not feel the need to talk about or embrace the fact that maybe someone did something wrong. They jump to blaming the person that was killed, and automatically when a police officer is shot, there is no question as to whether or not they were doing their job correctly when they got shot. It doesn't matter. The fact is that they died. And so why does that exist for a police officer? That it doesn't matter whether or not they were doing something wrong or right, but that they died, and so we're sad that they died. But someone that is just a civilian, it does suddenly their whole background matters. Everything about them matters. That's my issue.
Can we talk about black on black crime not being a thing?
Not a thing. Black on black crime is not a thing.
That does not exist. 82% of white people are killed by other white people. 84% of black
crime
people
has
are
nothing
killed
to
by
do with race, which
to
is
do
a social
with race.
construct. I just want to put that out there. Crime has everything to do with the people that you are around,
I want to put
and
it
not
this way.
your race.
Go ahead, sorry.
I just wanted to go back to what she had just said. I think, like I said before, it's the thing of titles, and I mean, and the positions that these people are put in. You have these police officers; they're expected to do this particular job, and then you have civilians. So if it's a police officer and a civilian in the same room, no matter what's going on, the civilian's already guilty of whatever because the police officer's there.
But that's my point.
But that's not to say that police officer is not the one who's actually in the wrong in that setting. But the way that people are looking at it is the first way. And I think that's the problem. And also, go ahead.
Sorry, her hand was up and then just
justice,
went
because
all
if
the
a
way
black person kills a white person, justice will be served. Every instance of a white officer killing an innocent, unarmed black person, they have not.
And even if it's a white person, if they kill a white person, if a white person kills a white person, like a police officer kills a white person, that cop will be held accountable.
Okay.
It's not going to be like, oh, well, that white boy, he was just, he was
he's a
former drug dealer. And
there would be fucking protests.
No, the protest.
That's what I'm
people
saying.
don't protest. They blow shit up.
Okay, go ahead, Sylvia.
All I'm saying when I said that, because I didn't get a chance to, is when I say that it affects the good officers, what I'm saying is just like innocent black people are being killed by people or officers for not doing anything wrong, some officers are also being killed by people for not doing anything wrong. It affects each side the same. But it's affecting each side the same in terms of the shooting and the violence. Like if you're gonna come for people,
it's not the same.
I think
but it's not about that.
Police officers are.
I'm not saying.
Wait, let her speak.
I'm not saying that this whole issue is about that. All I'm saying is keep in mind that two parties are always going to be affected by this.
Of course.
Yes, that goes.
But that's given.
I hate that the kids are going without their fathers because they were murdered on duty. Like that's.
But hold on.
But some people. But what I've been seeing on Facebook is people could give two shits about it
Because they're tired.
It's not even just that way. It's not even just that. It's not just that people are tired. And this is gonna sound super insensitive, and I'm trying to think of a way to say it that's not asshole-ish, but it's gonna sound asshole-ish anyway. I'm not trying to be an asshole by saying this, viewers, listeners. I'm not trying to sound like an asshole. But that is what they signed up for. As a civilian, I don't sign up to die every time I go outside.
I already said
But
that.
this is why I have an issue with policing in general, is that people are signing up to go die to protect people in the community. Why? Why is your job not just to go out and make sure that we are working together to keep each other safe?
Okay,
why is that the dichotomy?
I don't recall a time ever in my life. My grandma probably doesn't recall a time ever in her life where the police were really out to protect and serve.
Right.
So that's why they're out there signing up to die. That's why. Because it was never put in place for them to really be out there to protect and serve.
But people go, it must be an illusion because there are good people that sign up to be cops and are good cops. Those things exist. However, they're still a part of a system.
And that system, and
that's not honoring their intentions.
And that's not the cop's fault. And that's why I said it's not a thing of a good cop, a bad cop. It's the system itself, which, I mean, at the end of the day, they're fucking themselves by signing up because
Can you say that louder for the people in the back?
The cops are technically fucking themselves when they sign up.
This is how I became anti-police.
And I'm not trying to be anti-police. It's more so. It's the police system. It's system. Like, honestly, I feel like everyone can agree at this table that the system is really shady.
What system?
The system is jacked up, and it's jacked up for the good cops, as we've mentioned, who are going to get put. I mean, but at the same time, it's like
you can equally say this, just as we're fighting this person's innocent, or they're saying, well, this person was doing something wrong. Who's to say that this cop that ended up getting shot, how do you know that he was a good cop? It's because he's a cop, and that is his covering.
Yeah, basically.
Right. That is his covering. It doesn't matter if you're good or bad, you're a cop. So your life,
but you know,
you as a cop died. But this young gentleman, oh man, he was selling cigarettes, and I mean that technically. I saw someone said his taillight was out, so that is technically illegal.
So he decided to die.
So he deserves to die. So he deserves to die because he doesn't have a taillight.
The explanation has to keep going to the person, even if this person was
rude,
selling single cigarettes.
Selling
I'm like this.
Selling gospel CDs at the gas station.
Can
we talk about it one time?
Wait.
I read something that said they were
then we're gonna go to Alton's. But that's what I'm saying. It's like then we gotta go to Alton's.
Right.
His history, and so all these things.
Did he kill anybody?
He deserves to die because when he was 17, he dated a 15-year-old, and someone. There was like a sexual charge. It was literally like he was 17 and the person was like 2 years. Oh, but why does that makes it so they should have died. But all it has to be is he was a cop, so no, he really didn't deserve it.
And he didn't deserve it because this is such an issue for me. Is that
he's a cop, not because he could have that same cop could have abused his power. That same cop could have fucking killed someone else before. We don't know, but guess what? We're not gonna go search and see what was wrong with that cop. We're just sad because he died and he's a cop. But this other man, we need to really figure out. Guys, don't you really think? I mean, he put himself in the situation. He resisted arrest because someone just slammed him on the ground and he wasn't like...
Right, and he's not supposed to be like, hey, why is this happening to me? If you really didn't do anything wrong,
you're gonna be agitated.
You're gonna be like, excuse me?
Can we really talk about
is that not logical thought process?
This myth?
Tell me that
this myth. Can we discuss the myth that is now known as resisting arrest? Because I just don't think that it's real.
If you try to wiggle out of their arms.
Can you point me to any
the
black
mythical
person
guns
who reached for this gun that they magically know?
Did you guys see the thing? The thing where they had someone, quote unquote black person, burn someone's Confederate flag and wrote "Blacks Rule." I read that and I was like, "That's absolutely not a black person did that because who the hell writes "Blacks Rule"? Rule. R-U-L-E. Spelled it correctly. No, we would at least put a Z at the end. I'm just saying.
That's lit.
I hate
okay, then maybe.
No, I'm just saying. But this is why I feel like it's people really want to point to police brutality, and I think that's a part of it. But it's also going to be a part of how we think about guns in this country.
I don't know how we think about guns.
I'm not educated enough, based on what I do know, or think I know. Whenever the government wants to control a society, they take away the weapons. So that's history. And then the other part of it, just regulate it. Why are people who are clearly not stable allowed to access
I honestly
guns?
think even
Why can you buy a gun on Craigslist? Like, why is that a thing?
You can buy things on this thing called the deep web.
You can buy it anywhere.
Don't go on the deep web.
Don't go
It's a
on the
scary
deep web.
place.
That's a thing?
No.
Is that
Yeah,
a thing?
it's a real life
Web.com?
thing.
No.
Deep, is that a thing?
What is it?
Deepweb.com? No, girl. It's not deepweb.com.
Deepweb.com.
You know what? I'm about to Google that right now. Deepweb.com.
No,
I might
I
come
don't
up with
think
some
that's
nasty
just-
crap on my
I
phone.
don't think it's as simple. I think that at the end of the day, it's still going to be the most like deep psychological thing because there has been experiments, social experiments, where people have a person of non-color and a person of color have gone out in a state where carrying arms is legal, and the outcome has been different. So I don't feel like it is a gun issue. It's really a psychological issue. You never seen? I posted it on my Facebook.
You know what's so funny?
I think it's I totally see guns being an issue in this country, but I also
think it's
don't like
deeper than
guns.
I think it's
I
deeper
don't
than
I
guns.
don't think it's
really-
just guns. I think it's a layering of a bunch of different things, and I think the way that people think about guns and handle guns in this country has something to do with it.
I think it's really funny that people say guns don't kill people. People do. Guns were not created to shoot hearts and unicorns. And
Right. They were created to kill things.
Bing, come again.
But
A gun can go off without someone
but
pulling the
there
trigger,
are
and it will
people.
kill. So,
No, that is not all. That's not necessarily true. And I'm not pro gun or anything like that because I don't have a gun, and I don't think anybody would ever give me one. And me in my
I will
mental state, I will just not own one because
You don't want to own a gun?
I do, but I don't think that I would be safe with one.
I
But
wouldn't either.
I
I would
think
make it cute though if I did get a gun.
but
Be
there are
dazzling.
people who shoot for fun. They don't even
I
shoot
like
animals
to
or anything.
It's
It's
like
just like
target practice.
they just
I
like
will
to
not
shoot.
buy
It's
and
an
own
adrenaline
one.
rush, just like skydiving or
Yeah.
bungee jumping or something like that. It's just like an adrenaline rush. So that's a part of me is like I'm very American, patriotic, give people their rights. And
Skydiving doesn't allow you the ability though to go out and kill someone
You're
if
sure
they
about
make
that?
you mad enough.
You're sure about that? Because those people who run those skydiving things can easily cut your ass with their rope.
But is there an epidemic? Is there
I'm
an
not
epidemic?
going
No, because there's
skydiving
an
ever.
easier way for them to go kill people.
But
And I think
It's
that
called a
guns
gun.
can exist in a society without the way that they exist here in America right now.
Can we? We are just getting real heated over here.
that's why
I have
was
ice water. I don't know what you're talking
I
about.
would like,
I feel
I would like, and I think
I would imagine
that we should use.
you was clapping.
We should use the rest of this time.
We don't have to stop. I was gonna split it up.
No. We should use some time to actually talk about
Solutions.
solutions and stop it. Okay, stop.
Delicia is shaking her head no because there are no solutions.
There are you saying on a larger scale? Or are you saying like within San Diego? Like if you just thought on a smaller, like are you saying in general there's no solution? So we're just
Generally
ranting for an hour for no reason.
No, we're not ranting for no reason.
Yes,
Because
we are, if
we're
there's not a-
angry. No, because we're angry, and this is a space where we can
Okay.
rant. Like
So we're everything's happening. We're all basically doing it in vain. Is that what you're saying? There's not a reason to do it because
rewrite.
there's
No,
That's
it's
what
not.
I propose.
missing-
Rewrite the
Everybody
Constitution.
sip on
if
that.
there's
Everybody's
not a
water.
solution, then what's the purpose?
My thing is,
I
this is how I see it. A lot of this is a psychological thing. You are not going to be able to tell somebody. Clearly, it doesn't work this way. You can't just say Black Lives Matter to people. You can't explain
this
it.
Black
I
Lives-
think it's a combination.
But
I
you're
think
saying-
that
isn't going to
Wait,
change
let her finish talking.
Okay, fair enough.
This podcast isn't going to change somebody's mind, and all of a sudden they're going to, oh my God, I had an epiphany. You're right. Black Lives Matter. We need to be more strict with our gun laws, blah, 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 or whatever you guys are saying, or we're saying. Like, it's way deeper than that, and it is a psychological thing. This is something that has been brought up
So do
for
we just
generations.
wipe
and
out everybody?
I have
Let her
I've joked about it, and I said we just gotta wait till all like the old
That's true.
white people die off.
No, you
Oh,
can't
that's
do
what
that.
But-
older generations period.
But no, I know that. I said I joked and said
No,
this.
but I'm saying that doesn't fix
Wait,
the
we still have to let her finish.
Yeah, let her finish.
It's cool. I'm done. Go
Well,
ahead.
I think
Ayanna.
it's a combination of both because I think it's psychological, but I think legislation can also have an impact because
I don't
people
think it will.
are impacted by different things. Like there are things I won't do because they're illegal. But they're like, it's a combination. I don't think that they're mutually exclusive. I think that they should happen concurrently. That we should work on the psychological, whether it's people dying off or just something else. Or if we need to
seriously think about that. Like,
we need reform.
I don't think that's going to change anything. Okay, so we put new laws in. We're constantly putting out new laws. How many people break them constantly? There's supposed to be people supposed to have license and stuff for guns. How many people have guns illegally? We sit there and say gay marriage is for everybody, but how many churches are like, whoa, we're not hosting no gay marriage?
Well, we can go there, but
they have the right to say I don't.
Okay, and everybody still has the right to say no. Period. Everyone, that white person,
but that's why I think that's why I kind of agree with you in saying that. I don't think racism or things like that will ever really go away, because a part of who we are in America is saying you have the right to think and act and do what you want. That's what people tell people.
I don't think it's not even a thing about a right.
I don't know. I honestly don't have any solutions except for that. I think that it would be really helpful if white people would talk to white people about this, because I feel like Black people have been trying to talk to white people, and it has not done anything. And even the few white people that have, maybe not few, there's been a lot. Let me not downplay that.
We love you guys.
But even the white people that have been allies to the Black community, it doesn't seem like they're making any headway with them. And I guess at the end of the day, I can see the issues separately. I can see them together, but I don't necessarily know the right combination of what to do to actually fix the problem. And I also think that Black people and white people, like Noelle said the other day, I think they're trying to solve different issues or solve different problems. Like, if white people don't see racism, or don't define it the same way that Black people define racism, then they're not going to ever really understand what that means, because they still think reverse racism is a thing. And so it's hard for me to come up with solutions when I don't think the level of consciousness has been raised to a point where we can have this discussion on an open forum like Facebook. Like, I feel like you could have this educated discussion with solutions with people who are on the same wavelength about what's happening. But when it's such a big skew of people that are incredibly racist to people who are incredibly free-thinking, that's a really hard thing to do, to try to come up with a solution that pleases everyone on that scale.
Like, I really wish we could just open a dictionary. The definition of racist is to view a certain race as superior over another race. Like,
I see it as prejudice plus power.
Like, and because that's where racism, the system based on race, comes into play, because the power dynamic that occurs. So when you say racist, that doesn't mean you're calling every Black person you see an N-word, or you hate all Black people. That means that you think that a lot of white supremacist ideas, Eurocentrism, is superior to urban culture. Like, that is one aspect of that.
I have a question for you guys. Do you think that integration was detrimental?
It didn't work how they thought. Because if you think about it, Black people integrated into white culture. There was no.
It wasn't an integration.
It wasn't integration.
Black schools. Yeah.
They saw no value in what Black people had to offer. Like, so it wasn't really integration. It was like assimilation.
It was assimilation.
So maybe. So what if in school we stopped teaching people only white American history?
Yes, definitely.
And we taught people history, like real history. And what if in high school and instead of in college, you got to take history classes that were pertinent to you and your background? Like, what if
I think it should be all encompassing. Like, learn about Columbus. What is redlining? What is the prison industrial complex?
You're right.
Yeah. Like, these things
you could
exist and have a huge impact on society, and you don't learn about it until
that be a
Black
solution?
friend tells you that it's a problem, and then you deny it. Like,
could that be a solution? Is actually
I feel
teaching
that
kids
there are
what's
solutions. Real. I think we think of like changing the entire United, and it's like, no. I think on a very small level, like, what can I do with the people around me and my community who I can touch?
That's
if
helpful.
You don't feel that you can do that, then like for me, that's a solution. If I can sit down and talk to someone and that consciousness and then become woke, that's a solution, because guess what? That's one more person. But I don't know. For me, I'm not like this is the end all, like, because there has been some progress. So no, do I see it as like everyone's gonna like live in harmony while you live in utopia? No. But there are, I think, little things, like I said, that you can see in your community. Even like I said, with the Young Life, like we had this issue where like we just kind of were like, none of these kids can pay for camp. What's the solution? What if we actually looked at the numbers and statistically what the makeup is, and then
or just ask kids,
ask and empower people, even within our community? Like, what if you just empowered people, and then from them being empowered, they started to change little things, and it will, I would hope, eventually, maybe, get to this mass thing. But it's like, if I can, in my community, affect some change, for me, that's good for me. No, I'm not like, how do we change America?
I just feel like with that, I don't know about everyone else, but for me personally and the people that, with you guys, I can say that, I feel like we're already doing that. And we're still here. We're still having this conversation.
This is my thing. We are doing
it together.
There are not a lot of people that are out there like, let's get a group of my friends together to have an intellectual conversation. Do you think that this is not a common instance?
You're not hearing me though. I'm saying
you're listening, but are you hearing me?
But what I'm saying is like,
shout out to Anthony. Love you.
We could be. We're reaching out.
Funny.
I mean, we all have white friends. We all know somebody white. We all know somebody who's not black. Everybody's Facebook, except Sylvia's, all her social media is pretty dry. But I said all of it.
Shots fired.
No, but like
she said all of it and then confirmed. No, I said all of it. Like that was supposed to make me feel better. I meant to say some would have made me feel better.
All.
My Twitter has one
all
Twitter
social
post,
medias matter,
and it was from years ago.
No, but what I'm saying is like we all are actively in some shape or form, and right now the generation that we live in, social media is a big thing. No one's sitting down, like you said, it's a very rare instance that people sit down and have these conversations. It's just rare in general, like not even just having this conversation, just having a conversation is very it's
talk
very
about
rare.
it.
So like you sharing it on social media, you sharing the video, or you going on a tangent, or you just saying, Black Lives Matter hashtag. It is just a hashtag, but how many people click on that hashtag, and how many times is that hashtag linked to something else that gives you like a full-blown article about what it actually means, what the movement is about, where it came from, and all that stuff. So it's not like we aren't doing anything on that smaller scale. Like literally just posting that hashtag is a big deal, because people can just, the way that we communicate in this generation is just a hashtag. Like it's just a hashtag away. And I keep telling you guys, like when we post things, like hashtags matter. Like y'all think I'm playing.
They do, because it educates people.
Exactly. So what I'm saying is like we're already doing that stuff on a small scale. It's not making a big enough impact in the amount of time that we need it to ensure look.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Do you think people have an issue with the time frame that they're looking for that change in? Do you think that people are saying they want change now, when in real life, if someone has been taught racism their whole life, they have to unlearn that first?
The thing with
doesn't that take time?
For me, I feel like it does take time, but I'm not saying I'm not trying to reach the most super racist person, but like, okay, let's use the election as an example. The people who are Republican, the people who are Democrat, whoever, let's say I'm not following this race at all, so I don't know. I'm Trump. That's
Oh, God.
That's easy because he's like super Republican, right? So he's not going after.
Supposedly. I don't even really think
he's not going after
But
the
for this
Republican
example-
vote. He already knows he has their vote. He's going after the people who are undecided.
Yeah.
That's every election person, president,
Right.
governor, student council, ASB.
Dot,
That
dot, dot.
is their goal, is to get
Right.
that person who's right there in the middle, who's like, I don't really know who I care about. So that's the same thing that as people who believe in Black Lives Matter, Blue Lives Matter, green cheese,
Chinese, gray.
they're
blue.
going after those people who are in the middle. And if we can get those people who are in the middle, which is usually a bigger chunk than either side, then you're going to spread that awareness. So we need to reach out to the friends that we have, the Latino community, who think that we don't care about them for whatever reason when we do, because Black Lives Matter. Sorry, you're black too. So you matter, bitch. You matter.
Well, I want to hear.
But what I'm saying
I feel
is
like we've graduated from this conversation because that's
But
make a
You
startling
make a good point. So then, but you say all that. So why do you? I guess for me, if you don't think there's a solution, why do you believe in doing those things if they're not leading?
Because
to anything?
we should still do them. Shit, we live every day knowing we're gonna die. That's that same scenario.
I just feel
I
weird
think
about
it's
seriously,
seriously
like,
both of
why
them.
do you-
that
I
question.
don't-
Sorry,
you
that
first.
question really
First.
you hit me in a soft spot, because that question is like, for
That's
me,
softer.
the way the way it resonates with me, it's like, okay, we as human beings, this is what separates us. This is one of those things that separates us from animals that we know of. Animals live their lives. They just trample around, living life every day because it's great. They're not thinking, oh, I could die at any given moment. That we know of. We don't know that. But
She's like, I'm
religion
watching Animal
has
Planet.
taught us.
They have
No, listen.
different things
Religion
that are
has
built
taught
for
us.
it.
Life has taught us. Experience has taught us. We could die at any given moment. Life is not promised. But yet, a lot of people take that we take today for granted. If you guys died right now, would you be fulfilled with? Would you be happy about how your day went?
Today.
Yeah.
Today, just
I would.
today.
I went to
Actually,
Yes.
Just
well,
today.
actually, I feel really good about today.
I wouldn't, because I don't have kids. I want to have kids before I die. You guys, everyone at this table has some kind of life goal that they want to accomplish before they die.
Yeah.
So be realistic here. You would not be happy. You'd be like, shit, damn it, I didn't get to have
So,
a
but
sushi burrito. But what I'm saying
Ooh,
is,
I tasted that in San Francisco. Sushi Rito. Shout out.
what I'm saying is, like, to sit there and say, oh, why do you care if you know there's no solution? Why do you live every day knowing that you're going to die? You could kill yourself at any given moment because you already know you're going to die anyway. I already know to me, in my reality, I don't feel like there's going to be a resolution to this, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to fight for